With this video, I'm going to demonstrate the relationship between one of the first classes a student takes in our program, LEAD 300, and the last course they take in our program, LEAD 540, which is their culminating undergraduate experience. So let's get started. Here we find us with for one of the first classes they take in our program, the Prior Learning Assessment class. A big component of this class is rating themselves on certain standards of our program. So let's take a look at what they'll do in order to start this process. So the course is actually divided into preparations for college writing and preparations for prior learning assessment. So if we click into this first section, which takes about half the semester, we're going to find an area called BSOLL competencies. So we go down to graded assignments. We're going to find two templates. One is going to be the Bachelor of Science in Organizational Leadership and Learning Self-Assessment, and this is a spreadsheet. So let's take a look at it. So this is a spreadsheet where they're going to rate their performance in certain areas of our program. So if we scrolling down, the first one you will notice is Analyze Performance. So within each one of these major areas, they're going to rate themselves on these different items, such as gather information about client needs. Well, there's 4 categories: needs improvement, acceptability low, acceptability high, and target. So what they'll do is place an X in the cell where they rate themselves on this performance. Well, there's a lot of these in this program, so therefore they're reflected in this spreadsheet. So there's one called Design Learning, Manage Organizational Knowledge, and then we're going to start another area called Develop Solutions. So they're going to be doing the same thing by rating themselves in each one of these categories by placing the X in the appropriate column. Because this is the beginning of their program, they're probably going to be rating themselves either fairly low in these first 2 areas. Because what you'll notice, there's going to be a post column where they're going to see their growth in each one of these areas. Well, they'll rate themselves later on when they take 540. So that continues on until the next major category comes into play, which is Evaluate Change. So there's the performances for Evaluate Change. And then Lead and Manage. And there's the performances for Lead and Manage. And then there's another category for growth, demonstrate adaptability, personal development, program success. Of course, this is a spreadsheet, so the spreadsheet will count the X's and return a value in these cells. So, rating for each one of these items. So here's where those main categories come into play: Analyze Performance, Develop Intervention, Implement and Evaluate Change, Manage and Lead and Grow. So when they initially take this spreadsheet, this survey, they're going to have a value here. And that is their pre-score value of the basic skills for program success. So now they're going to use this later on in the program in LEAD 540. So let's pop over to LEAD 5. One of the first places this is going to show up is when they take their very first module, when they fill out an application. So let's look at the application. Now, by now, they should have completed most of the courses in the program. So they will show up under Analyze and Design. So that's 312, 411. So they write, they'll put the hat number. So they put the course number and then write a brief description of the hat for that course. So all of these different courses that they've had in our program, there will be at least 10 they will put on this application. One of the items in the application is their pre and post scores from the initial assessment spreadsheet they started in 300 will now have completed it and we'll be able to copy their scores, the pre-scores and post-scores in Analyze Performance, Develop Intervention, Implement, Evaluate Change, Manage and Lead and Grow. And then they'll have an overall growth score. Where this can become important, of course, they will have increased their rating in each one of these, but some of these might not be at the target range, and this area is where they might want to describe their experiences that they would like to work on in their field work. So just as any other internship of function, you want to do serve the organization, but also have some growth for yourself. So now they're going to use this in another assignment. So now let's go back to Module 2. One of the assignments is to fill out a product matrix. So let's take a look at that. So like I said, they've taken most of the courses in their program of instruction, and now they're going to start putting these in categories. So the first thing they have to do is list one of their best performance products. Normally these are the hats, such as identified in no particular order, but just for a category. They said the first one that they looked at was Lead 341, Managing Projects. I planned a personal project, so that's the hat for Lead 341. So they're going to list their 9 more best products, usually hats, and their products in the rest of this part of the rating sheet. Where this becomes important now is now they're going to place these in the categories of analyzed performance and so forth that they originally rated themselves on. But now they're going to put the actual products they produced in each one of these categories. So in that first column, they identified thinking strategically as something they did in project management, and so forth with communicate effectively, measure and evaluate, and identify to influence stakeholders. So those are the actual products they've defined that flow into each one of these performance standards. And then whatever they had for the second one, whatever that was identified as, they put the X's here. So what they'll end up with is their 10 best products placed in these categories. So the next place they're actually going to use these now is in their portfolio. So here we are with the student's 540 portfolio. You'll notice right away that here are the goals sections that correspond to the goals from the product matrix, which go back to their original program self-assessment that they did in 300. It's all coming to fruition now. And you'll notice they uploaded that final program self-assessment here. So let's look at the goals. In the first goal, the student actually numbered the products from that original product matrix and then wrote in depth about each one of the products and then uploaded the actual products to their portfolio. So for goal 2, the very same situation, wrote about the products and then uploaded the files. And finally in goal 3, wrote about the products and uploaded the files. And in goal manage, again wrote about the products and uploaded the files. So this gives a good detailed description of the products this student produced over the course of their program of instruction. One thing to note is in their fieldwork experience, they've put all of the knowledge, skills, and abilities they've garnered over their course of instruction into a fieldwork experience. And based on that, these are products they produced for that fieldwork. And then they keep a log sheet, and then they have 2 different evaluations. So to review, in Lead 300, you filled out a self-assessment of your knowledge and skills and abilities in main categories of our program of instruction. These values will show up in the pre-scores column. When you take Lead 540, you will then rate yourself again in the values where you currently rate yourself on the same items. This will show up in your growth in each item. You will then copy these values in your application, showing your growth in each area. Next, you will complete a product matrix identifying the 10 best products from your program, usually the hats for each course. You then identify the category of performance where it best fits into the product matrix. You now have a complete reflection of your entire program. And finally, you will add the actual files of these 10 best products with an explanation to your portfolio, including the products you produced for your fieldwork. With your portfolio, you now have a complete history of your program of instruction that can be used as an example for future employment. So this shows the relationship of what you started in LEAD 300 with a program self-assessment to the end result with your program portfolio.